my name is Real Ghostbusters and I welcome you back to the channel and to part 2 of Frank Welker's Spotlight. If you haven't watched part 1, I suggest you do so now because you really don't want to miss out on Frank's career and role. As you know, he was already in a ton of cartoons in the 70s and the first half of the 80s, like Scooby-Doo, Inspector Gadget, and Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. But in 1985, he would be immortalized forever as Megatron.
The brilliant scientist Preceptor and the naval tactician Sea Spray. I'm certain you have many Autobot secrets to tell us.
That's a role he would play across multiple platforms. While he was snubbed for the first 3 live-action movies, he did lend his voice to the video games adaptations of the movies, and finally reprised his role in Age of Extinction and The Last Night. Although in Age of Extinction he's Galvatron, but you know what I mean. Back to G1, in addition to being everyone's favorite gun, he masterfully lent his voice to probably one of the most iconic characters of the show, Soundwave.
Prepare for flight. Destination, Icon.
Using a voice modulator to give him his signature voice, Soundwave is easily one of the most recognized characters of the franchise. Everyone remembers the iconic tape deck, which to this day is still the most demanded alt mode for the Decepticon communicator. But that's far from it. In Season 1, he portrayed the ground-shaking Rumble.
Look, Starscream, Megatron is strong, he's merciless, he can't be beaten, and you'll never be our leader.
The stealthy Ravage. The nostalgic Mroz.
Try this one, Spike. Now you see me? Now you don't.
The force field generating Trailbreaker.
Maybe I still have enough power left to shield us from this killer rain.
The dumb powerhouse Sludge.
Ones with face like this, I think.
The Constructicon Mixmaster.
Let's mix up some H2SO4 with was that HCl with
And the loyal Decepticon who became Cyclonus, Skywater.
Megatron, my leader. We are alive again.
In Season 2, we reprised all of the above and added to his belt the roles of the Geek Frenzy.
Hey, I didn't volunteer for this geeky assignment. I want Skywalk's job.
The Combiner Superion. The Protectobots Blaze.
Need a lift?
And Groove.
Won't it freeze in here?
The Abomination Bot. And Poplock.
Cooler with that jive, man. You know the Autobots like I know Prince.
For the movie, he reprised 4 of these roles, being Megatron.
Wait, I still function.
Soundwave.
Soundwave superior, Constructicons inferior.
Rumble.
Hey, nobody calls Soundwave uncharismatic.
And Frenzy.
Yeah, let's kick tailgate.
And adding the rhyming Wheelie.
You get ship if I get trip.
And some Junkions. Continuing in Season 3, since Megatron had been reformatted into Galvatron, Frank reprised the role from Leonard Nimoy and added to his repertoire the voices of Steeljaw, Ratbat, a Sweep, a Sharkticon, the mercenary Slizzardo, and the not as scary as expected Chaos. And finally in Season 4, he personified Chrome Dome.
Tell me, what is this planet anyway?
And Pinpointer.
What does that matter? They're machines. If the Hives found our secret base, we're finished.
And Frank's probably been every other weird sound on that show, who knows. Frank also worked on the competition show, Challenge of the GoBots, voicing Scooter, Jeeper Creeper, Z-Mon, Rescue, and Blaster. You could have heard him in other shows like Robotics, Superpowers Team Galactic Guardians, Sectors, the Berenstain Bears, Pound Puppies, and Star Fairies. But another iconic show he worked on was G.I. Joe, where he played Wild Bill, Torch, Rock and Roll, Flash, Short Fuse, and Copperhead. But of course the animals as well, such as Polly, Junkyard, and Freedom. Out of those, he reprised Wild Bill and Torch for the movie. In 1986, Frank would work on yet another cartoon that is still loved today, the Real Ghostbusters. On top of voicing Ray Stantz and Slimer, he did 124 voice and vocals for the show. Some of you may not know that he was the demon in the movie The Golden Child, or that he was involved in cartoons like This Is America Charlie Brown, Spiral Zone, and DuckTales. But more importantly, he was the gopher in Caddyshack 2. A show I recently heard a lot about since fellow YouTuber Firetox came up with the upgrade kits for the Kingdom Fossilizers is Dino-Rider, which Frank played in, doing the voice of Krulos, Rasp, and Glide. He played 7 characters on Garfield and Friends, was the voice of Sharptooth in the movie The Land Before Time and its sequel, was involved in the Pride of the X-Men TV pilot as Toad.
I did it, mister! I did good, didn't I?
And started working on The Simpsons, portraying various animals such as Santa's Little Helper and Snowball 2. Then we hit the 90s, where of course you heard him as Mohawk in Gremlins 2, the new batch. But tons of other shows, like reprising the roles of Tom and Jerry in Tom and Jerry Kids, playing 36 characters on Tailspins, and 29 characters on Tiny Toon Adventures. And he took on the role of Barney Rubbles 8 times in different Flintstone-related projects since 1990. In one of my favorite movies, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, he voiced Station, the Devil, and the most terrifying creature of all, the Easter Bunny. Fans of Darkwing Duck will know him as Archie, while others will remember him as Sultan in Beauty and the Beast. He did animal sounds for ISIS and Werewolf effects on Batman the Animated Series, was the voice of Abu, Raja, and the Cave of Wonders in Aladdin and its sequel, even the live-action adaptation. In the questionable movie adaptation of Super Mario Bros., he was a Goomba and Yoshi, and you even heard him on The X-Files doing sounds for Sophie and Possessed Cats. On the Goofy Animaniacs show, he played 23 characters, was Angel the Hawk in The Next Karate Kid, and Furba in The Shadow. Frank was everywhere. The classic 90s hit show, Gargoyles, was lucky in having him do the vocals for Bronx, but also played Banquo, Boudica, Crumcrush, The Stone of Destiny, and Chiron. Frank even played a reindeer on the Santa Claus. Not many people can say they played a reindeer. A franchise I'll admit I know nothing about, Prehysteria, had Frank voice 5 characters, being Elvis, Paula, Jagger, Madonna, and Hammer in each 3 movies. Then we get to his most challenging roles as he tells it. For the movie Species, he had to come up with the sounds for those big eggs on the train when the alien is evolving, the sounds when the alien kills her mate with a tongue strike, and the sounds when she dies burning. I always thought this was done by computer. It brings up the question, how many times have you assumed a sound was done by computer, but it was really Frank? I'm guessing it's a ton of times. In another movie I love, Mortal Kombat, he did the reptilian sound for Reptile. And voiced Shao Kahn.
Weak, pathetic fools, I've come for your souls.
I don't think so.
He was involved in shows such as Timon and Pumbaa, The Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries, Freakazoid, where he played 13 characters, Pinky and the Brain, portraying another 18, Savage Dragon for a meager 4 characters, and Superman the Animated Series doing various alien sounds. In the now classic show Dexter's Laboratory, you heard him 54 different times, and he did another 53 on the Real Adventures of Johnny Quest, and an additional 17 for the Adventures from the Book of Virtues. The blockbuster hit movie Independence Day would not have been the same if he hadn't been producing the sounds for the aliens' language or the Martians from Mars Attack. He was Nibbler on Futurama, and on the crazy show Johnny Bravo you heard him 60 times, including a crossover from Fred Jones. In the Spawn movie, he was the voice of the devil Malebolgia, made sounds for the Baby Godzillas in the 1998 American adaptation of the franchise, was involved with the Powerpuff Girls, and even played Xar in my favorite video game franchise, Baldur's Gate. That's only a sample of his 90s work, and I'm not even downplaying it. Then we hit the 2000 where the list doesn't even slow down. I mean, he's 25 characters from the Buzz Lightyear of Star Command movies and series, Ace and Wolf from Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, 8 characters from Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, and many other characters from just the year 2000 itself. But if we stick to the more popular stuff, He did lots of sounds for movies such as Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius and the follow-up series, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Return to Neverland, various Scooby-Doo shows, and even Eight-Legged Freaks as Consuela. I didn't know they named spiders, that's weird. Younger fans would know him from his work on Ozzy and Drix, codenamed Kid Next Door, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and My Life as a Teenage Robot, but also Rugrats All Grown Up, Lilo and Stitch, Duck Dodgers, and Curious George as the titular character. One fun fact is that he worked on both Family Guy and Robot Chicken for various cameos of characters of his, like Megatron and Soundwave, and some original characters. 2007 is where he would reprise Megatron for the video game adaptation of the live-action movie, but he did voice Soundwave in Revenge of the Fallen. One thing I'd like to share here, his voice for Soundwave is not vocalizer enhanced in the movie, but it's the same voice he did for the original cartoon. In the episode Web World, there's one line where they forgot to use the vocalizer.
Ratbat has found a deposit of isotrite and something else. Decepticons, mobilize. It is time.
I thought that was pretty neat. In Revenge of the Fallen, he would also make sounds for Reedman, Devastator, and Grindor. 2010 to present, the much younger fans heard his voice as Bandersnatch in Alice in Wonderland, Curious George 2, 10 versions or more of Scooby-Doo, and Transformers Prime. On that show, as well as Megatron, he reprised Soundwave 2 and also did voices for Decepticon Troopers. In Mr. Popper's Penguins, he was the Penguins, all of them. And in Transformers Dark of the Moon, he was Shockwave, Soundwave, and Barricade. He was involved in Batman The Dark Knight Returns as Mayor Stevenson and others, 3 versions of Odin from Avenger Assemble, Hulk and the Agents of Smash, and Guardians of the Galaxy. He was Galvatron from Age of Extinction, Soundwave in Transformers Robots in Disguise, reprised his G1 characters in the Devastation video game, and finally Megatron in The Last Night. Again, this is just a minimal part of what he's done. But my personal favorite was when he reprised his role of Fred Jones to play in a crossover episode of my favorite show, Supernatural. With a bit of magic, the Winchester's brothers are sent in an episode of Scooby-Doo, where they have to solve a mystery accompanied by Scoob and the gang.
Mind if we tag along?
That sounds like a swell idea. In fact, I think it's high time we hit the road.
And it's a brilliant episode.
There! Look how big my mouth is!
If you haven't watched that show, you have 15 seasons to catch up on. Get going. And this is all I will list. I think everyone's had enough. This has been a wonderful experience, honestly. In 2016, an Emmy Award for his Lifetime Achievement was given to this, I can't even use the term workhorse. A horse is too small. Let's say work brachiosaurus. Throughout everything I read and listened doing this, all of his co-workers talk about how much of a legend Frank is, how humble, talented, and how he's genuinely a great person. Everyone, and I mean everyone, describes Frank as the most talented human being they ever encountered. And I have to agree, I have never been more impressed with an artist as I am today. I hope you've enjoyed this brief, and I use brief very loosely, this brief journey of Frank Welker's career. If you did, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Also leave a comment, I love reading you guys. And if you can share the video, I'd appreciate it, it really does help. And remember, nothing in life gives you the right to be an asshole. Take care!